Some people spend a lot of time trying to figure out the facts, where you can do an experiment and get the most repeatable answer, and as many people as possible can agree on it with group consensus. Some people spend all their time worrying about feelings, trying to figure out the psychology behind why we feel the way we do. Some people spend all their time trying to figure out the shadows, trying to figure out our dark sides, our impulses, our unconscious behaviors. My focus is on beliefs and perception. To me, that is the deepest layer underneath everything. You can get all the shadows, feelings, and facts on our past, our traumas, our experiences, the negative things that other people have said, things that have infected our own inner narrative for ourselves, right out there in broad daylight. And it can still make no sense because of how you perceive based on how your beliefs are. Beliefs are at the very base of all of them. I think some of the most powerful inner work that you can do is really question everything that you believe in, try to be your own epistemologist and figure out why you believe that. An important part about honing our self-importance through questioning our own belief systems is we have to understand that our beliefs aren't ours. We absorbed them from elsewhere in the world, and we treat them as our own because they play such a familiar role in our interaction with the world around us. Depending on our belief of a shadow aspect or a feeling or even a fact, we make up our own understanding of what everything means to us in our experience. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we have labels and categories for in the world that straight up just don't exist. We can identify it, we can look at it, and we can say, yeah, this is X, this is Y, but the world doesn't give a shit. The universe doesn't care. Just because you label something or I label something, does that make it real? Does that make other things not real? How we construct our own belief systems influences the very perception of these facts, feelings, and shadowy aspects of our world around us. So if we intentionally shape our beliefs, then we intentionally shape our perception, which influences every waking moment of how we take in the world around us, how we see the things we see, and why we see them that way. It's the difference between getting cut off in traffic by somebody who's completely unaware of you, honking your horn at him, and then he has the audacity to flip you the bird. And, you could perceive that as, oh, what an asshole, You could perceive how it's unfair, it's unjust. You could see how it's promoting confrontation on his end. Or you could remember that we're all subjects to our own environment. Basically, you could take it really personally. Or you could understand that everything that they did is straight up a reflection of how unaware and unconscious they are. And you could just laugh about it. It's not that big of a deal. You can choose to pick out the one thing that's wrong, the one thing you could hear some big old diesel engine that needs a new everything just sputtering away down the road. And you could say, oh, that totally ruins this beautiful nature out here. Or you could just not let it bother you and enjoy the nature anyway. How you believe in everything equals how you perceive everything equals your fucking quality of life. Basically, the more aware you are and the more individuation that you have in your own belief system, the more resilient you are to manipulation from external and internal sources. Nobody can trick you quite like yourself can. It's pretty easy to be tricked by the environment that you're in and the people around you that make up everything that you see on a day-to-day basis. So ultimately, shaping our beliefs and perceptions and developing them through individuation and ironing out what we truly believe in, figuring out why, is at the core of personal development. If you want to learn more about developing your own belief system using love as a foundation, check out jwesley.ca. Make sure to subscribe and follow for more.